Plaintiff may call the next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The plaintiff would like to call DJ Hatchett to the stand. May I proceed?
You may.
Please introduce yourself and spell your last name for the court.
DJ Hatchett, Hatchet.
Where do you live?
I live in Boise, Idaho.
What do you do for a living?
While I'm probably best known for my extreme sports color commentary on ESPN 8 The Ocho, my day job is being the executive director of NORA.
What is NORA?
NORA is the National Obstacle Racing Association.
What is obstacle course racing?
Obstacle course racing is an extreme sport. It is meant to test participants' biggest fears, including heights, tight spaces, fire, water, and electricity.
Now, I want to make sure the court understands your background in obstacle course racing. Could you please summarize your background?
I have organized my own extreme obstacle course races. I publish a magazine and edit a website about obstacle course racing. And I also serve as a color commentator on ESPN.
Do you have an area of expertise in obstacle course racing?
Yes. In my role as the executive director of NORA, my job is to create national rule and safety standards for our sport. I also have been hired by top obstacle course races such as Tough Mudder, Spartan Run, and Warrior Dash, and advise them on obstacle course design.
Your Honor, at this time, we would like to tender this witness as an expert in obstacle course racing.
Objection, Your Honor, lack of professional knowledge. This witness has no education in OCRs and therefore cannot be considered expert.
Your
In
Honor, may I
response?
respond? We have laid the sufficient foundation by Rule 702, which states that this witness has specialized knowledge and experience in obstacle course racing.
You wish to respond?
Yes, Your Honor. This witness has been in the field of OCR for, as it states in his affidavit, years, which is not a sufficient amount of time to be considered an expert.
Counsel, are you aware of any educational degrees in OCRs?
No, it just states none.
All right. I'm going to overrule the objection. I believe that this witness may testify as an expert, and then the jury will use his experience in the weight that it gives his testimony.
Now, I want to talk about Storm Chase LLC. What is Storm Chase?
Storm Chase is a relative newcomer to the world of obstacle course racing. They've only been in existence since 2013.
What do you know about Storm Chase?
Storm Chase has put on a good number of events, and their participation level has really grown. But with this kind of rapid growth comes with potential for many problems.
Do you have any personal experience with Storm Chase?
Yes, I've attended a number of their races, and I've also spoken to their director, Chris McLean, in my capacity as the director of NORA.
Are you familiar with the obstacle course that Storm Chase created in October of 2015 in Des Moines, Iowa?
Yes, I am.
How are you familiar with this course?
I toured it on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015.
What were your observations?
Storm Chase was trying to pack too many obstacles into the course.
Why did that concern you?
More obstacles leads to more possibilities for exhaustion and congestion.
Why is more exhaustion a concern?
Exhaustion leads to greater risk of injury to participants.
Why is more congestion a concern?
Congestion equals chaos. More congestion can cause participants to become impatient and frustrated. This would cause participants to not follow the rules and can make the course much harder to supervise.
Were there any particular obstacles that drew your attention?
Yes, the abandoned ship obstacle.
What concerned you about this obstacle?
The pit was muddy and the water was very, very cold. There were only 2 monitors at this obstacle. With only 2 monitors, this obstacle can get very chaotic very quickly. There are also only 2 lifeguards at the pit.
Why is the number of lifeguards so important?
According to emergency training, you have 2 minutes to find someone who has not come to the surface. When there is a report of a distressed swimmer, the industry standard is to attempt immediate rescue without delay. With only 2 lifeguards, these 2 standards can be very hard to accomplish.
As an expert in obstacle course racing, what would you change about the abandoned ship obstacle?
Objection, Your Honor, subsequent remedial measures. This is not relevant because it is asking whether or not he would change a thing after the incident, which is not relevant to this case.
Wish to respond?
I am asking him what he would change after he toured the course 3 days before the race and from his observations of that obstacle.
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection. He's not testifying as to subsequent remedial measures that he might be aware of. He is instead offering some opinions of other things that could have been done. That's my understanding of his testimony. You may proceed.
As an expert in obstacle course racing, what would you change about this obstacle?
Personally, I would shut this obstacle down. But if that is not an option, I would at least add the standard safety procedures that are needed for an obstacle like this.
What are the standard safety procedures that are needed for an obstacle like this?
I would add the same protocols that water parks follow, with clear water, and a participant can only jump in once the previous participant is out of the water.
Did you offer your advisory services to the directors of Storm Chase?
Yes, I did.
Did they accept that offer?
No, they rejected it.
Did you invite Storm Chase to be a part of NORA?
Yes, I did.
Did they accept that invitation?
No, Storm Chase rebuffed any attempt to coordinate through NORA.
What would Storm Chase have received if they were a part of NORA?
They would have had access to our national rule and safety standards.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
You may cross-examine.
Hello, Ms. Patchett. My name is Hannah Beeson, and on behalf of the defense, I will be asking you a few questions today. You are very involved with obstacle course racing, are you not?
I am.
You even tried to create your own obstacle course race, but this failed, didn't it?
Yes, it did fail, but I did attempt to coordinate a organization for obstacle course racing.
Is that a yes that your obstacle course race did fail?
That is correct.
And after this failure, you went on to create NORA, a national regulating organization for OCRs, correct?
That is correct.
And you asked Kristen Lee to become part of this organization, didn't you?
Yes, I would like to eventually have all organizations a part of this.
But she refused, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Now, you took a tour of Storm Chase's Iowa course a couple days before the event, correct?
That is correct.
And on this tour, you noticed that Storm Chase had placed medical tents near the more dangerous obstacles.
That is correct. They had a few medical tents throughout the course.
You also noticed that Storm Chase had increased the number of ATVs and golf carts available.
From their last course, yes.
So, you could say that Storm Chase had made improvements from past events, couldn't you?
Very small improvements, yes.
You interviewed witnesses who were at the Storm Chase event on the day in question, correct?
That is correct.
But you weren't there yourself, were you?
No, I was not at the race that day.
So you didn't actually witness anything that happened that day, did you?
I would agree with that statement.
You didn't see the conditions of the course during the race?
I wasn't there that day.
And you didn't see what happened on abandoned ship?
As I'd stated, I wasn't there the day of the race. I was only there 3 days prior when I toured it.
So that is a yes, that you did not witness what happened.
That is correct.
And therefore, you didn't witness for yourself the actions that Storm Chase took to save the decedent's life, did you?
I would agree with that.
Your Honor, I am now referring to what's been marked for identification as Exhibits 5 and 6. These exhibits may be found in your trial notebook on pages 70 to 74. Let the record reflect that I'm showing the marked for identification as Exhibits 5 and 6. May I push witness?
You may.
Let the record reflect that I am handing the witness what has been marked for identification as Exhibits 5 and 6. These exhibits are both excerpts from your blog, Dr. Dangerous Sports Extreme, correct?
That is correct.
And you are familiar with these exhibits, are you not?
Yes, I am.
You're familiar with them because you yourself wrote them, correct?
That is correct.
And these are fair and accurate copies, aren't they?
Yes.
Your Honor, the defense asks that Exhibits 5 and 6 be accepted into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
5 and 6 are admitted.
May I approach the witness to read the evidence?
You may.
I'm now referring to Exhibit 6 on page 73. Would you please read from here to here?
It is not a bad obstacle.
And that refers to abandoned ship, doesn't it, Mr. Hatchett?
Yes, it does, but this was an abandoned ship obstacle at a previous course, and they do change throughout.
So, in your affidavit, you pointed out the flaws of abandoned ship, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
But yet you wrote right there that abandoned ship is not a bad obstacle.
This is about an abandoned ship obstacle that was not the same as the abandoned ship obstacle at the Rayside Tour.
But couldn't you agree that the designs are similar as they are the same obstacle?
Yes, they are similar, but they are not exactly the same in structure and safety procedures.
And you also stated previously that it'd be impossible to eliminate the risk of death on this obstacle, didn't you?
Yes, but you can make that possibility less likely by adding standard safety procedures.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
May I approach the witness to read from the evidence?
You may.
I'm now referring to Exhibit 5. This is on page 71, sub-point 1 of point 2 for regulation. Would you please read from here to here? Yes, companies to want.
Companies can implement obstacles without standardized safety testing. Almost any company can come in, open up shop, and create whatever obstacle they want.
And so it states right there, as well as what you stated previously, that there is no official governing body for OCRs to create regulations, correct?
That is correct, and it goes on to say that they want, without any real guarantee, that they will be safe or reasonable.
And this is because there are no legal safety standards that companies must follow.
That is correct. They weren't a part of the National Obstacle Racing Association for they could have the standards for this obstacles.
Yeah, NORA isn't official, is it?
I wouldn't say it's unofficial.
But companies aren't required to follow the guidelines that you create, correct?
They are standard rules.
But they are not required.
They aren't required, but they are accepted by almost all of the organizations.
So Storm Chase didn't legally have to meet any specific safety standards, did they?
Yes, but they had to ensure the safety to their participants.
Is that a yes, that they do not have to complete any legal requirements?
They did not have to take any legal requirements, yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions. May I approach the witness to retrieve
You
the
may.
evidence? May I approach the bench to tender the evidence?
You may. Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. May I proceed?
You may.
On cross-examination, you were asked about secondhand information. Do any of the professional opinions you gave in this trial today rely on secondhand information?
Objection, Your Honor. This is beyond the scope of my questioning, as I did not ask him about any secondhand information. I merely asked him whether or not he was there on the day of trial. Do you have a response?
She asked him if he had interviewed witnesses from this event on the day, and asked him if he had used any of that testimony today.
Your Honor, may I respond?
May.
I did not ask him whether or not he had used that testimony. I merely asked him for clarification, whether or not he interviewed them.
Whether he interviewed people?
Yes.
And tell me what your question was again to him?
If any of the professional opinions he gave in this case today relied on any of the secondhand information he gathered in those interviews.
Objection to rule.
You may answer unless you need the question repeated.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Did any of the professional opinions you gave in this case today rely on secondhand information?
No. All of the facts that I've stated are based off of the examinations of the course and its need for safety.
Objection, Your Honor. This is unfair extrapolation, as it states in the witness's affidavit that he did base some of his has opinions on witness statements.
And response? And timers, let's stop the time.
Yes.
Your Honor, in his statement, he does rely on secondhand information, but all of the opinions he gave in this trial today do not rely on secondhand information.
Your Honor, may I respond? This witness has given his expert information based on this affidavit, and in his affidavit, it states that he has based this information on eyewitness testimony.
All right, counsel, I'm going to overrule your objection, but you may impeach him by the use of his prior statement on recross. You may proceed.
On cross-examination, you were also asked about how the risk of death with the abandoned ship obstacle is inevitable. Is there any way that you could make this abandoned ship obstacle safer?
Yes, by adding standard safety procedures such as clear water and having participants only jump in once the previous participant is out of the water.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Recross?
Yes, Your Honor. I am now referring to page 36 of this witness's sworn affidavit.
Let the record reflect that I am showing opposing counsel.
Page 36. May I proceed, witness?
You may.
Let the record reflect that I am handing the witness with remarkable identification as page 36 of his sworn affidavit. Could you please read from I on line 67 to
I spoke with participants of the race, witnesses of the tragic drowning, local law enforcement officials, and also viewed video taken of the event and posted to various social media websites and reviewed social media postings about the event. I will outline my findings below.
Thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
The witness is dismissed.